Welcome to my channel. My name is Donna Ann, and I appreciate that you're visiting with me today. I post every Thursday. My goal is to bring inspiration, motivation, revelation, and restoration to individuals and their families. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell too, so you can be notified every time I upload. I wanted to share what TUFF means, just in case you have not seen my other videos. The word TUFF is a geological term, which I'm using as an acronym, but it is an actual word that is a rock-like substance that is formed when a volcano erupts, and all that debris and all that ash and rock and heat and magma that flows out of that volcano, when it hits the ground, it turns into something called tuff. This is tuff. And it really is tough. It's solid, it's strong. And there's many different kinds. Here's another tuff. And there's many different shapes and sizes and colors. And so with that said, the first letter in our acronym is T, tell their story. So TUFF Men tell their story. And our scripture reference is Deuteronomy 6, verse 5 through 7, okay? You might be saying, what stories? Well, we all have stories. And so actually, before I begin by telling you a story, I wanted to let you know that God had you on his mind. And what I mean by that is, honestly, I have never gone on a water fast ever in my whole life. And 4 days ago, I really was praying and seeking God for this new series with the men. And although I have visited the TUFF and came up with different words for TUFF Men, I really felt like God had you on his heart, and I needed to really seek him and to fast and pray for you. And so I have to tell you, God has been giving me grace to do this water fast. And like I said, it is my 4th day, and I am surprised. I've fasted before, but never have I given up everything. And the reason I did that is because I really wanted to hear from heaven on what our men need to encourage them. And although I am not a doctor or a pastor or a professional counselor, I believe that I have God's Spirit in me. And when we seek his face with all of our hearts, he gives us answers from heaven, from his word, and from his Spirit. And so I wanted you to know that God has you on his mind, and he wants to encourage you, men. Men, you are leaders. You are natural born leaders. And although this has nothing to do with tell your story, I want you to know what I feel God is saying to you in this hour. And it is that he loves you, and that he needs you, and that we need you. Your families need you. Your wives and your children need you, and your moms and your dads. We need you. You're the leaders in our world. You are the strong ones in our world. And yes, women are strong in different ways, but we need our men. So many times men don't feel validated because women can do it all. They can buy their own homes. They can buy their own cars and work as executives and do jobs that men used to do. And the thing is, that's commendable. I appreciate that about women. Yes, they can do most anything. But the thing they cannot do is lead the family as the man was given that role. And so I want to encourage you, step back in the role of leader in your home, not dictator, not macho man, of course not, but loving husband, loving father, man that's trying to provide for his family and to please God and to live in righteousness, that kind of thing. And it's hard for you guys, I know it, with all the things that are going on, especially immorality in the earth, where you can just at a press of a button, you can see everything and anything. We're supposed to protect our eye gate. God is in it and wants me to say it. And I just want to encourage you, men, that you are well needed and loved and appreciated. And so with that said, let me open up with a story of a man who was actually given up for adoption in 1955. And his parents were graduates of Wisconsin University, but they decided that they did not want to keep their son. And by the way, they later on gave up a daughter for adoption. So this boy ended up having a sister, but he didn't find that out till later on in life. But going back to this person, he, at age 21, went into business with a friend of his, and he started Apple Corporation. And you know I'm talking about Steve Jobs, a genius. But Steve Jobs was an adopted child, and he had a story to tell. And had he not told his story, we would not know about his past. So thank God he told his story, as painful as it was. All of his successes and his failures, he shared them with us. And had he not shared them, we would not know. And going back to that, everybody has a story. You have a story. I have a story. We all have stories. Now, Steve Jobs left Apple Corporation and started his own business called Next, N-E-X-T. It was not what he hoped it would be. He thought it would be a success, but it was not. He would buy Pixar Animation Studios. That made him a billionaire. Pixar is responsible for giving us great movies like Toy Story, Finding Nemo, and my husband's favorites, WALL-E and The Incredibles. He still loves those movies, but later on, 10 years later or so, Disney acquired Pixar, and Steve Jobs was asked to come back to Apple. Apple ended up buying Next, and so Steve Jobs was back in the middle of Apple. And the unfortunate thing is, in 2011, Steve Jobs lost his battle with pancreatic cancer, and he's no longer with us, but he left some amazing genius ideas and talents. The Apple phone, which I am using right now as I speak, I love it. Telling your story can bring healing to others, bring healing to your family, whether it be your children, grandchildren, sisters, brothers, parents, spouses, whomever. It will bring healing. And it's interesting to hear other people's stories, especially our families. I wanted to read Deuteronomy 6, verse 5 through 7. And that says, "And you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your might. And these words which I command you this day shall be in your heart, and you shall teach them diligently to your children, and shall talk of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, and when you lie down and when you rise up." That's all about talking, all about telling your story, talking to your kids. I mean, many times in the Old Testament, monuments were put up where God did something for the children of Israel, and they built monuments because that reminds us and reminds our family of the goodness of God, the things that He did for us, the things that He's still doing for us. And so telling about those things, telling people and your family how much you love God is very impactful. And the stories of what God did for you. You know, I remember, now this is not part of my script, but I wanted to share this story. It just came to my mind. When I was in the 4th grade, I remember my dad, he was a very big disciplinarian, but he had a heart like gold, my dad, Eric. And so he wanted us to succeed in school. And we were supposed to know our multiplication already, and we really didn't. My brother and my sister and I, we didn't know all of the multiplication tables. And so my dad said, at the end of this week, if you do not know at least one, and I don't mean 1 or 0, the easy ones, I mean the other ones. If you don't know at least one, then you're going to be grounded. And we didn't want to get grounded, but you know what? I knew that it was hard for me, and I struggled, and I just, you know, that was the first time I really knew God was real. because I prayed and I cried out to him and I said, please help me, God. Help me get the one that's the bigger number, way up there, not even 5 or 6, but 7. Help me get the 7 times tables. And do you know that till today, I know my 7 times tables? The rest I might be like, oh, is it this or that? I mean, I know them pretty well, but I have to think sometimes about 1 or 2 of them. But the 7s, they just flow like that. And that was the first time God became real to me. And so as a child, I knew that there was a God. I knew that God was real. So anyway, with that said, I know that you know God is real, that God has come into your life in some form or fashion, and you need to tell your story. Strong men, tough men who have been through some things, have been through some hardships, have been through some eruptions in their lives. They have stories to tell. You have a story to tell, so tell your story. It'll bring healing to you and healing to others. Now with that, I want to close with this final thought. I remember hearing a study being done on our Vietnam veterans. And by the way, if you are a veteran, thank you so much for serving. But our Vietnam veterans that went to Vietnam and fought in that senseless war, the actual Vietnamese men who fought in that war also from Vietnam, our men had PTSD and still have PTSD. But the men from Vietnam did not have PTSD. And the question is why? Why did the men born and raised in Vietnam not have PTSD like our soldiers? Well, the answer is because they told their stories. After the war, they went right home and told their wives and their children or their moms and their dads or their sisters and their brothers, their families. They told their stories. And I believe that is the key and the reason why the Vietnamese men did not suffer from PTSD. Our men were told to zip it. Don't tell of your experience on the battlefield. It's hush hush, no telling, no talking about it. Share those things with your family. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to next week, Thursday, when I bring the letter U in our acronym TUFF for Tough Men. And so in the meantime, remember to be courageous, speak the truth in love, and I will see you back here next week, Thursday. Take care, God bless you, and thank you for watching. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.